South Okanagan, West Kootenay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The discussion I'm initiating tonight arises from a question I asked the Prime Minister before Christmas, a question about government responses to a series of sulfuric acid spills on the roads in and around Trail, British Columbia. And now Teck Minerals operates a very large smelter in Trail, one of the largest lead zinc smelters in the world, and one of the byproducts of that operation is sulfuric acid, and it sells this sulfuric acid to the U.S. And of course it has to be transported from the smelter, and that it's trucked to a nearby rail siding about 16 kilometers away to be put on trains. And until recently, that trucking was done by Westcan Bulk Transport. Now, on April the 10th, 2018, about 220 liters of sulfuric acid leaked onto southbound Highway 3B from the intersection of Highways 22 and 3B to the Quirk Siding Reload Center in Juanita, about 16 kilometers away, as I mentioned. Emergency responders were on the scene at 9:30, and cleanup was completed by 2 p.m. On May 23rd, about 70 liters of sulfuric acid leaked onto much the same area, a shorter distance, only about 6 kilometers, and emergency responders were on the scene at 8 p.m. and had cleaned it up by 11:15. Following this spill, the Westcan Bulk Transport was suspended as the transporter, and Trimac Transportation took over transporting the acid. And according to the Westcan group of companies, initial findings indicate the cause was a gasket failure on the trailer unit and was unrelated to the release that occurred on April 10th. There was a very minor spill in September 22nd, only about 1 cup of acid that leaked at the reload center, and that was not very significant. But the other 2 spills were very significant. The Insurance Corporation of British Columbia reported it had received about 4,200 claims from drivers whose cars were damaged in the April and May spills. Over 400 vehicles were written off, including the regional district's main fire truck, a brand new fire truck worth about $1 million, and its fire command vehicle. On October 10th, ICBC filed a notice of civil claim to recover the amounts paid out, and it listed as some of part of the negligent parties, the trucking company and drivers, International Raw Materials, Teck Resources, the regional district, the city of Trail, and the province of BC. So the regional district and the fire department have a number of concerns. They're obviously concerned about being listed in this litigation, and they're obviously concerned about the loss of their trucks. They're concerned about how far away the nearest Transport Canada office is, and they have the following questions for Transport Canada. First, is Transport Canada investigating these acid spills in Trail? What enforcement actions have they taken in regards to the spills? And why was the first and largest spill not even reported to Transport Canada? And finally, they've heard that provincial staff that do commercial inspections relating to dangerous goods have been cut back through attrition, and that part of this cutback relates to reduced federal funding. They would like to know what the plan is to assist communities that need this level of expertise when transporting of dangerous goods incidents happen in their communities.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank the Member of Parliament for South Okanagan, West Kootenay for raising this important issue and for strongly advocating for continuing improvement to our dangerous goods operations. We remain committed to taking all the appropriate safety actions to enhance public safety during the transport of dangerous goods. I would like to ensure the member that Transport Canada has a rigorous and robust dangerous goods regulatory framework and oversight program in place, which includes monitoring the safety of dangerous good operations. The department operates the Canadian Transport Emergency Centre. First responders and shippers can contact the centre at any time for expert emergency response advice and technical information to help with handling dangerous goods incidents. Safe transport of dangerous goods is a shared responsibility among industry, provincial and territorial governments and the Government of Canada. The provinces and territories work in concert with Transport Canada to enforce transportation of dangerous goods requirements on the highway. Transport Canada also conducts regulatory compliance inspections in other modes of transport, including marine and air, and leads in the development of dangerous goods regulations in the transportation sector. Where non-compliances are identified, various enforcement actions can be taken, up to and including prosecution. Incidents by road involving dangerous goods often fall under provincial jurisdiction. In the case of the events in Trail, the Ministry of Transportation conducted an evaluation of all aspects that fall under their jurisdictions and will share its findings with Transport Canada once that investigation is complete. In addition, Transport Canada conducted extensive follow-up actions to see if there were any issues with the transport operations of dangerous goods, and in particular, sulfuric acid in Trail. The results of that follow-up will be shared with safety partners. The department met with WestCan Bulk Transport, International Raw Materials, Tech Trail Operations, the Fire Department, as well as the Insurance Corporation of British Columbia to discuss the incidents. Further, WestCan Bulk Transport, who is contracted by International Raw Materials to transport the liquid, has since been suspended as a carrier. International Raw Materials has since contracted the company Trimac to carry out delivery of this product. Transport Canada inspectors conducted a follow-up meeting with the company involved to ensure that all regulations were being followed. This includes verifying driver training, reviewing the required shipping documents, and inspecting the damaged tanks. Mr. Speaker, we will never hesitate to take the necessary actions to ensure the safety of transportation of dangerous goods on our roads. Thank you.
Okanagan, West Kootenay.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank the Parliamentary Secretary for her detailed reply. She mentioned the Canadian Transport Emergency Centre, which companies are required to report to these incidents to, and I've looked into the reasons when they have to reply, and it would seem that both these incidents would have qualified, and yet they were only notified in the second instance and not in the much larger first instance. So I'm hoping that gaps like that will have been fixed, unfortunately through these serious events. But I just wanted to reiterate how concerned the people of Trail and the surrounding area are about this. A lot of them have lost their vehicles. Many people, even if you get some money back from the insurance company, can't afford to buy a new vehicle. Some people are driving vehicles that may be unsafe because they don't want to bring them in for inspection in case they're seized as being unsafe and the people have to buy new vehicles. So it's a serious issue. And as I said, the regional governments they want answers to these questions so that they can feel comfortable about the services they're providing. And when serious issues like this happen, they want to make sure they're doing the right thing, and they're relying on Transport Canada for that.
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And our government is committed to continually improving the transportation of dangerous goods for Canadians. And those improvements to an already rigorous and robust transportation of dangerous goods regulatory framework and oversight program are important. At Transport Canada, the oversight activities include monitoring dangerous good operations, enforcing compliance with rules, regulations, and standards through audits and inspections, taking appropriate enforcement actions as required, and working with our provincial and territorial counterparts. We take incidents involving dangerous goods serious, and follow-up actions have been conducted to determine if there were any further issues with the transportation of dangerous goods, in particular sulfuric acid, in Trail, British Columbia. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.